Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Lowe, and today we are continuing with topic 13, writing and interpreting numerical expressions. Again, let's go back to our essential question. How is the value of a numerical expression found? And today we are going to answer that by looking first at some practice problems. So let's go ahead and get into topic 13. Lesson 13.4, and where'd they go? There they are, Practice Buddy. And we're going to kind of go through these, and I think you'll appreciate a little bit about what we are doing. So it says, without doing any calculations, yay, no math today, describe how expression A compares to expression B. So here's expression A, parenthesis, 584 plus 16,462, close parenthesis, divided by 2, and expression B, 584 plus 16,462. So I want to compare. So if you were to solve A and if you were to solve B, how would A compare to B? Well, the thing I want you to focus on is this part of our expression right here. Everything in that box is exactly the same. So if we were to do these alone within the box, we would say that A would be equal to B, okay? Because they're both taking 584 and adding it to 16,462. So we would say they're both equal. However, that is not what we are doing. What we are doing is taking this amount, 584 plus 16,462, we are dividing it in 2. And when we divide, we actually make something smaller. So we say expression A will be not equal to, not 2 times great, not greater than, it would be 1/2. We're taking this and dividing it by 2. So A is going to be half of B. We get a well done. Good job. So today, you are not really doing any math. All we are really doing is looking through and going through some of these problems and trying to figure out how these two expressions compare. Let's go ahead and do number 2. Without doing any calculations, describe how expression A compares to expression B. So here's A, 527 times 1/6 plus 527 times 1/3. And then I have this B, which is 527 times 1/2. Okay, so I'm taking 527 and timesing it by 1/2. And this one I'm taking 527 timesing it by 1/6. And then adding it to 527th and timesing it by 1/3. For problems like these, guys, I want you to focus on the fractions, okay? If we did 1/2 plus 1/3, 1/2, or not 1/2, sorry, 1/6. If we did 1/6 plus 1/3, I would need to find a common denominator, and a common denominator right now is going to be 6, and that means I would have to change 1/3 into 6 by timesing my denominator by 2 and my numerator by 2. So this really is the same thing as saying 1/6 plus 2/6, and when I add those two together, I get 3/6, which is really equal to what? Well, 3/6 is equal to 1/2. And when I do that, that is the exact same thing as what I did there. So these two expressions, expression A and expression B, are really going to be equal to each other. Because when I times something by 1/6 and I times something by 1/3 and I add them together, I'm going to get the same thing, 527 times 1/2. And I get a nice little fantastic. So you want to kind of be sure that you're looking at these kind of as what's the same between them and what's different. So let's go ahead and do another one. Without doing any calculations, we are going to select that's greater than, less than, and that is equal to. So I have 258 plus 894 divided by 40. And then I have 258 plus 7,299 divided by 40. Again, let's see what is the same. 258 here, 258 here, divide by 40, divide by 40. This one I'm only adding 894, This one I'm adding 7,299. So when I add these two together, I'm going to get a bigger number to divide by 4 compared to here, which will give me a smaller number divided by 4, which means the first expression will be less than the second expression. And I get a nice work. Let's do one more, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. Whoops, there we go. So again, we're not doing any multiplication this time or solving. I'm not asking you to solve anything. We want to look, and I've got 1/6 times 4,512 minus 164. And I've got 4,512 minus 164 over here. So this is the exact same as that. And if I didn't have this times 1/6, I would say that those two are equal to each other. But because we have this as a times 1/6, that means this whole expression will be 1/6 compared to the other. So this side, because I'm timesing it by a fraction, which means the same thing as dividing it by 6, this side will be less than the other side. And I get another good job. One more just for giggles, and then I'm going to let you guys go. We have some problems here. 15,564 minus 3,174. I take that and then I add 76 to it. And then I go over here. Notice, I want you guys to notice I'm starting inside parentheses. I'm still using the order of operations as I'm thinking about this. 15,564 minus 3,174. And then I'm taking this difference and adding 72. So one, I'm adding 76. The other, I'm adding 72. That would tell me that the one that I'm adding 76 to should be greater than the one that I'm only adding 72. And I get another fantastic. So as you go through today's lesson, you're going to see many problems where they don't want you to do any math. They don't want you to solve anything. What they want you to do is think about math, and you're going to interpret which one is greater than, less than, or are they equal to. We get into these story problems, you're going to look at them, and again, you're going to be reading them very, very carefully. Okay, some of them you may actually have to solve. So this one, they want to know how many cubicles are there on the floor that is closed. There are blank cubicles on the closed floor. The second expression is the same as the first, except that, and then you would hit the drop-down menu and pick out what it says. All right, you are going to do Practice Buddy, or actually Homework Buddy, and then you will have an adaptive homework. Some of you will. All right, have a good day.